With that, it's time to welcome my special guest into the Gospel Spotlight. This family is a friend to this show, and we've talked to them many times about their beloved son and brother, Stephon Clark, who was killed March 18th, 2018, in the city of Sacramento at the police hands. And so we always love to have them come on and share their insight and all the wonderful things they are doing. Please welcome to the Stephen Parker Show, Sequette Clark and Stevante Clark. What's up, y'all?
Hey, how you doing, Steve?
How you doing, brother?
Doing good, doing good. Thank you, number one, for always having time to come on the show. I think your voices are very valuable, and I see what you guys are doing. So I always want to appreciate you for making time for me. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes. So I want to talk about Stephon. You know, I think sometimes when, you know, our brothers and our sons are lost, you know, sometimes we get caught up in what happened, did it. But I want people to know about this young man. When I hear you guys talk about him, I always see a smile on your face and a twinkle in your eye. So what kind of son was Stephon?
Stephon was my genius child. He always thought 5 steps ahead of the average person. So he was extremely intelligent.
Wow.
And he was also the son that needed the most hugs and the most kisses. He was a mama's boy for real, and he loved his mama. And when I tell you, nobody could talk bad to me, nobody could look at me sideways. Stephon was coming. You know, he loved his mama. Talk to my mama like that. You know, and how you talking to my mama? Like, you know, mama, you okay, mama? He was always looking out for me. Always had my best interest at heart.
Yeah. What brother was he?
Stephon was light and joy. He was a comedian. He was an athlete. He talked too much. He didn't know when to be quiet. You know, but he was amazing. He was the life of the party. He was, wow. You know, he was everybody had a good story, but everybody that knew him had something positive to say about him. He was tall, sir. Black, and handsome. He was just perfect. He was amazing. You know, he was always on top of his personal hygiene, make sure he got his nails done. He knew about the latest video games. He knew about all the latest sneakers. He was very into the fashion. He knew all about the music. Yeah, Stephon was just amazing altogether. He was going to school for psychology. He was trying to get his life together, turn his life around. You know, not only did this family lose something, but the city of Sacramento, the community lost something.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And you know, Stevante, when I hear you guys talk about him, it's like I think the pain is not just losing him, but losing all the potential that he had inside of him and all of the things he could have become. That's what they took away, right?
Exactly.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
They took all that away.
All of
so
it.
that night, Sequette, I mean, the nightmare of a mom's dreams. When you got that call, where were you? And tell us about that a little bit.
So I actually didn't get a call. What happened was my stepsister found out that the police had the street blocked off and found out that my son had been shot. So she came to my apartment complex, and she didn't know which one I had moved into. She didn't know which number I stayed in. So she went to my cousin's house who stayed there and told her that Stephon had been shot. And so I was sitting in my car in the carport, and I was playing Candy Crush. And my son Jalen, who's my youngest son, he came out to the parking lot. I had his cover wrapped around him. He came out to the car and he said, "Mom, what are you doing?" And I was like, "You know, I'm crushing candies, boy. What do you want?" And he's like, he said, "It's Papa. He's been shot." And then he collapsed. And I just remember that. I remember getting out the car and picking him up off the ground, putting him in the car with me, and we went to my mom's. And when we seen how the street was blocked off from every side, and the yellow tape, that's how we knew he was dead. So it was horrific. It was horrific not knowing. It was from that drive. I'll never forget that drive. Because it's normally a 5-minute drive from my house to my mom's, and it just seemed like forever. And I was crying. I was begging God to not let him be dead. Yeah. And, you know, just the horrific the prayers, the unknown, not knowing, the fear that grips you is it's horrible. And then to get there and see that yellow tape and realize that he has to be dead was surreal. It's still I still really don't even think about it because then it's all the way real. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It does. And the grief that a mother feels for that and stuff, Bonte, I'm sure you can speak to this when, you realize that here it is, you at your grandmother's house and you're seeing all of this activity out there and you guys are trying to figure out what's going on and then you finally found out. How did you respond to that, bro?
Honestly, the way I responded was pretty public, I think at when I first was there, I was so much in shock that I just really couldn't believe it, even, but I don't remember all of the feelings because I was so much in shock of how incredulous this could be. And just something that I just, I've seen stories like this before. So for it to just happen and to know, I remember one of the first things I said to law enforcement when I approached my grandmother's house was, "Oh, y'all messed up. Y'all messed up," and then the officer looked at me. He didn't want to say it, but that's what it was. So I was completely shocked. Till this day, I couldn't tell you exactly how I was feeling. And, I'm sorry, Steve,
That's all good, bro. It's all good. I totally understand, man. I totally understand. What I want to ask too, though, if you had to talk to, and you too, Sequette, a young brother who may encounter the police, after going through all this, all these things you guys have been through this journey, what would you advise them to do when making contact with the police? How would you advise them to act?
Press record. Number one, first and foremost, your cell phone will it will hold them accountable on point. Unfortunately, it is our only way of saying this is going on right now. But you have to, when you do that, it's very important that you comply while you're recording, because you don't want to put your family in the predicament that my family's in.
And I also want to say, these cops don't even know the difference between a phone and a gun, it seems. So what I would tell these young people is that when you're coming in contact and you look like me, you look like my brother with law enforcement, make sure your hands are visible.
Yes, sir.
Make sure it's yes, sir, no, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. Make sure you understand that we still live in two different Americas.
That's right, brother.
And the price for freedom is still being paid. And an example of that price is Stephon Clark.
Absolutely. Well said, bro. So you guys know that George Floyd's trial is starting for the police who killed him. They're picking juries and doing all that.
Yes,
when you see these types of things, and I'm sure you guys, it touched your heart when you saw the George Floyd thing. Do you think that there is justice that we can find as black men who've been killed at the hands of police, or does it just seem like everybody's in cahoots and it will never get resolved and we will never have justice when it comes to our young sons?
That's what it feels like, is when you see these jurors getting picked. I looked at the first three jurors. The first juror has never seen the videotape at all. The second juror has a uncle that is on the police force, and the third juror has admitted to past anti-BLM posts, so on and so forth. And these are all conflict things. These are all if a third juror's already brought up the toxicology report. If another jury already has a family member that's already on the police, and another juror hasn't even seen the video, but heard all types of things about it. I just think it's unacceptable on all levels, and we don't get no justice. And this is why we say no justice to peace. This is why we say justice delayed is justice denied, because these are constant setbacks against our democracy. We are fighting for to move forward, not backwards.
Can I respond to that as well? So because I'm a mom, my perspective is always going to be slightly different from the world. Justice comes in many different faces. It doesn't always look like what we think it will look like, but it takes several justices along the way to create true justice. Okay. So, and when I first seen what happened to George Floyd, and I saw that the officers were fired immediately, to me, that was justice. Because that didn't happen with my baby. Do you understand that because of what happened to Stephon, the light is more on them and they're being held more accountable for their actions. And although it's not the ideal justice that we seek, each step leads to justice. The civil rights movement was a movement. So it didn't happen in one speech and in one protest. It happened in all of the little wins along the way. And so the fact that they're picking out jurors to try them officers, that's justice.
Yes, I agree with that. At the same time, Lady Sequette, don't you see the frustration?
I do understand it, but
it's not justice.
It's not justice, but it's a form of it. And so I said, it comes down to a mindset. It comes down to how do you see the glass, half empty or half full?
No, it comes down to if the guys who murdered the unarmed Stephon, the unarmed George Floyd, are still walking the streets, being with their family, out there enjoying life, while the family is my whole life is ruined. Damn it! So no, justice is them in bars for life, facing the death penalty. If you want to be frank, you probably can't say that on the 1190 radio station on Sunday morning, but it's like our brother is gone because the cops didn't know the difference between a gun and a cell phone.
Yes, sir.
And whether the jurors, or whether even the cops get 25 years to life, my brother's gone. There's
what do you say to, now I got to play, the other role and people who look at things not quite the way we do. What do you say to someone who says, okay, we heard he was breaking into cars. We heard that, he was fleeing from the police and that he was running through backyards with something in his hand.
I say to those people that, number one, no misdemeanor call should result in death, number one. Number two, I would say my brother was unarmed. And number three, I would say SAC PD should know the difference between a cell phone and a gun. Now, I can go on and say, hey, I would also say to you people, did you know that the SAC PD had a foot pursuit policy that those officers ignored? I would also say to those people, did you know that they had a body camera that they muted their audio devices to lessen the transparency?
Right.
I will also say to those people, do you know Stephon Clark was implemented to prevent what they did to anybody else's grandson from happening in my grandmother's backyard? And I will also say to those people, if you've done something so bad that a law has to be created over it, you should be held guilty. You should be held accountable. So, so for those people that say that, I say, I don't want to say shame on you. I want to say, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do.
Right. And let him be punished for any crime he may have been committed, but death is not that punishment. No. You said it's a misdemeanor.
Stephon didn't murder anybody. He wasn't a serial killer. He wasn't a serial rapist. He did not hurt, harm anybody. He did not anything. And so he should not be assassinated in my grandmother's backyard.
Amen.
And then lied on him. At first they said he had a gun, then a crowbar, then a toolbar. Then they lied on him. And then they tried to destroy his name. So shame on the district attorney. Shame on the police chief, our black police chief, which is another point I want to make, that all skin folk ain't kinfolk. Sometimes you can have black people in a blue uniform that forget who they really are and where they come from. I'm not saying that's the point with our chief, but I'm just saying sometimes you have these institutions that do that to people. So,
And they're even saying this, Sequette and Stefante, that the prosecutors in the George Floyd case will begin to try to assassinate his character.
That's what they do.
As some sort of tactic to make the people, feel less sympathetic to the fact that he lost his life by having a man's knee on his back for 8 minutes and 47 seconds. So, that is one of the tactics that they use when they say, hey, well, he was this and he was that. So I'm sure you guys went through that too.
Yeah, we did. And we see that they're not putting, they try to put Stephon on trial and not Terrence and Jared. And they're trying to put George on trial and not Derek. It's sad.
It's sad how they will go and look at what the victim was doing the past 48 hours, but not what the officers were doing the past 48 hours.
Crazy.
Check their phone records. Check their Siri, their location history. See where they were at. See what. Check their toxicology system. What's in their blood? Wow. Pull out some of them hair follicles. What they really been doing the last 10 years.
Let's look for their brother too and see if their brother, see what he act like. See if he normal or crazy or not. Let's look at their family. Let's try to dissect, judge, and pick their family apart, like how they did ours. You see? Let's see. Let's do that. They don't
sad. Like it's sad.
Rights activists. They are pro-black and they are pro-justice, and they have been fighting on the behalf of their brother and their son's legacy, Stephon Clark, who was killed March 18th, 2018. And I always love having you guys on. You guys have an exciting week coming up.
Yeah.
I love this week every year. You guys always do some amazing things. Tell us what's going to happen for the Stephon Clark Legacy Weekend this year.
Oh, March 18th, we have the grand opening of Stephon's house. 3 years in the making. We'll have Stephen Parker in the house. We'll have Sister Demita Joe. We'll be doing our praise and worship. Yes, we will have the mayor there. A lot of great people. It'll be the grand opening. Then after that, we have a rally scheduled. Our call for justice and accountability. That fight continues. This is a movement, not a moment. And then we have the launch of Mama Clark's Justice Tree. Yes. And then March 19th is going to be amazing as well, because we have our strategic justice panel featuring the Reverend Al Sharpton, civil rights attorney Benjamin Crump, Dr. Tekoy Porter, who's running for Senate here in California, and just so many great, Uncle Bobby, the uncle of Oscar Grant, just so many great, the uncle of Oscar Grant, so many great panelists as part of that. And then March 19th as well, we have the unveiling of the Stephon Alonzo Clark Playground. And that's going to be amazing. So excited for that. On March 20th, Mama Clark.
March 20th, my mother will be having an invitation-only Blessed Child event for the children, family and fun, free family food fun for the children of District 8 where Stephon was killed. And last but not least, ending out the weekend, as usual, we have the Mother's Celebration. And this year we'll be having a formal event with the red carpet and all. We'll be having live entertainment. The mothers, the yayos, the mothers who experienced the loss of a child will have a parade where they are honored and celebrated by others, by all that attend. So we are so excited. We are so excited about Stephon's house, about the programs that we will be having, our healing sessions, our life skills with Rodney Bryant, our restoration team ran by Mr. Clark. We're just excited. We're just excited that my son's dreams, his wishes, his goals have manifested. We didn't have to sell our souls to the devil. We didn't have to take no blood money to do it. But by the grace of God, it has come to manifest. Okay?
And this will be March 18th to March 21st. And you can find all the details at www.IamSAC Foundation. We're still raising 10,000 books because this is a library, a museum, a resource, and a rec center. And we need the people's help. We cannot do this without the church, the Christian community, Black people, and all the people. We need Black people in this. So Black people, if you're listening, come on now.
Real quick rundown for Friday and Saturday, Stefante, because I know Mama's is private. she called me and invited me, so I got to invite to Mama's house. She said, "Don't tell nobody."
No, because you know, Steve, we're gonna need you to come up on there and host the thing. Steve, I need you. I need you. I don't have no MC, and we ran out of money.
Tell us 18th and 19th, what's gonna be good for they call?
March 18th. You say that again. I couldn't hear you, Steve. Say that again.
March 18th and 19th. Tell them the location where they can show it.
Oh, okay. March 18th at noon at 5940 Rosebud Lane. That's March 18th, noon, 5940 Rosebud Lane, Sacramento, California. That's 3 p.m. at the California State Capitol at the West Steps. March 18th as well. That'll be right after the grand opening, the ribbon cutting. So after the ribbon cutting, on March 18th at noon at 5940 Rosebud Lane, we'll be heading over to the State Capitol at 3 p.m. and doing the protest there. And then after that protest at around 5, we'll be heading back to Stefan's house for the launch of the Justice.
I love it. Give them the website again where they can find all the info, Stefante.
That's www.iamsacfoundation.com. Please donate with all the help you can.
You got it. If you're anywhere around the Sacramento area on the 18th and 19th, you guys show up and support this wonderful family who is fighting for justice and that's living their son's legacy after he's done. I love it, you guys. I'm so proud of you, and you know you always got an open door to the Steve Parker Show.
Thank you, Steve.
All right, love y'all. See y'all soon. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Stephen Parker Show. I'd like to thank my special guests, Devontae and Lady Sequette Clark, the mother and brother of Stephon Clark. We will see you next time right here on KBYA 1190 on the Steve Parker Show. I'll see you in a minute.
All right, brother.
I love y'all.
Love you too.
Love you too.
I'm gonna call you back, Steve. All right. Perfect.